Text message number 1 is from Ari, who said, hey, thanks for the hockey mentions. Go Stars. Got to beat the Jets tonight. Give me 90 seconds. I promise this is not the hockey hour of power, but I don't know if they have to beat the Jets tonight. There's 7 games left in the season. They're locked into second. They're not going to get caught from behind. They're not going to catch the Avalanche ahead. The Dallas Stars have to get Rupe back, and they just have to get, once Rupe's back, they just have to skate right heading into the playoffs. They've been injured. They are not, and as a result of that, that's why they're like lost 7 of their last 9. They beat the Lynch in the shootout, and since it's been an utter disaster. Injuries, you can tell the lines are off. They just need to regain their form. That's it. The NHL playoffs are the greatest things in sports. It's not the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. It's not the Philly Fanatic. It's not the grilled hot dogs. Well, it's not the hot dogs with the grilled onions at Globe Life Park Field Place. No. It's not Kyle Field with 12,000 people all losing their mind at once. The greatest thing in sports are the Stanley Cup playoffs. But thank you, Ari. We don't talk Stars hockey. I do mention Stars hockey. Here on the Louis Bellina Show, I got 2 things for you. Go Stros. Go Stars. Can the Stars win the Stanley Cup? Yes. Will they win the Stanley Cup? I don't know. That's a tougher road. But they have a team, but they have to get healthy, and they have to just kind of regain their 7 games. Get healthy. Just regain your form. Marshall in Bryan texted, and he said, Brigadoon Brewery needs a World Cup lager to drink in Ellis Field. Yes. But, you'd have to cut a deal and buy the rights, and I don't think Brigadoon Brewery has like $1 million or whatever the contract would be for that to pay for the privilege of creating a beer for the World Cup to drink in Ellis Field. So I just don't see that ever happening. But yes, I agree. Coach G with the idea of maybe like a World Cup viewing party at Ellis Field with a 12th man lager and just throwing a party. Ooh, that's a good one. Look, I know here in the United States, maybe, but the World Cup, I have noticed this. When the World Cup has been in the U.S. and the U.S. is in the World Cup in the U.S., even the average sports fan to some extent will pay attention. Even Chip is Mr. Soccer. You can ask him today. Chip Howard, Sports Talk 4 to 6. Chip watches all the World Cup matches. 2 things in the world that Chip loves more than life: soccer and I think WNBA. So I think Chip will probably take off of Sports Talk and he'll let Ryan host for all of June and July because he's not going to miss a World Cup match. So anyway, if you want to text 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. Anything goes. Yeah, I'd be down with Brigadoon Brewery making a World Cup lager. Alan Ward makes phenomenal beer. We are lucky living in Texas where we make phenomenal craft beer. And it doesn't matter if it's St. Arnold's or Allstat. Right down the road, Blackwater Draw is one of the best craft breweries I've been to in the entire United States of America. And I have traveled this country trying craft beers. And Blackwater Draw makes, they're as good as any brewery you've ever tried. The Two Chris's, no beer, no craft. It's not just knowing the flavors. You have to know how, it's like a chef. It's like a 5-star Michelin chef. The great craft brewers. And we're lucky to have Blackwater Draw, downtown Bryan. They make unbelievable beer. We're very blessed. I'm telling you that right now. The rest of the world of sports. That's where I'd like to head to in the lunch hour. I saw this on On3. I think it was either yesterday or maybe late on Tuesday. But it's a story about at LSU when they brought in Lane Kiffin. They were like, hey, man, we're going to give you $25-30 million to build your roster. That's a lot of money. But what's funny, do you know a $30 million roster is a good commitment. You're going to be competitive. If things go right, you can make a good run. But a 30 mil roster is not a national championship roster. And it's kind of understood that 30 mil is not a national championship roster. But when Lane Kiffin got there, he sold his vision for what he could do. He actually talked them into adding 13, 14 million to win a national championship in year one. Does this tell you, no matter what you think of Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin has been fantastic at poking A&M, go back to his Ole Miss days, in the eye. He has been awesome. He is one of the greatest A&M antagonizers. He's better than any Longhorn coach I remember at poking an Aggies in the eye. But how does he keep getting these jobs? You know, he got that USC job and the Tennessee job, and now he's at LSU. There's something about him. But from the outside, we all hate him for the most part, right? So they hire him and go, here's 30 mil. And that's real money, 25 to 30. He gets there and he gets in the room with the BMAs, the guys that really write the checks, starts talking, lays out his plan, and he's able, and remember something, to get another 10 to 13 mil. He didn't ask for chumpus changes here. He's able to raise by talking, selling his vision. They already committed 25 to 30. He's able to get 10 to 13 mil more to try and win in year one. They have an anonymous donor, the On3 story, make the quote, "You don't build stuff over 3 or 4 years anymore. Why not win in year one?" Why not win in year one? Yeah. You don't build stuff 3 or 4 years anymore. That whole one sentence, you don't build stuff over 3, 4 years anymore. Okay, I'm going to say it's 90% true. And I'll tell you why I'm holding back 10%. You don't build stuff over 3 or 4 years anymore. I think what you do have to do, if you're going to be Georgia, a dynasty, Georgia, Texas. Welcome back. Louis Bellina Show presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, community. Louis Bellina Show, Thursday edition. We were talking about, I don't know, the persuasive powers of a Lane Kiffin and the concept of you don't build over 3, 4 years anymore. We still don't know what are facts and not facts in the NIL universe. I think it's a fact you don't build over 3, 4 years, but you can save money if you build a program. You don't build over 3, 4 years, but you can build a foundation. Your high school recruiting, you can't take 5, 6, 5 stars anymore unless you're going to play them seriously in year 1, 2. In the old days where Alabama and even Georgia, in the way they were doing things, thinking that you could have 3 quarterbacks that were all 5 stars and they would wait their turn. We know that's not true anymore. But you can't do that at running back either. But you can build a foundational structure so that every year you're not trying to take 15 starters in the portal. And I think that's what the top tier teams will do. You do build, but 3 or 4 years to make the college football playoff, no. But you have to build a structure so that you're going in the portal and you're taking 7 key players that keep you in the national championship conversation and not just college football playoff participant conversation. I do think there's a difference between trying to hit 10 wins, participant, and win it all. But back to the power of Lane Kiffin. That's all. Full stop. LSU is going to give him 30, which could contend for the college, get him 10 wins. And he's like, hey, man, for only $13 million more dollars, only 13 mil, we can maybe win it all. Maybe win it all. And he talked them into it. And that's how he ended up with 49. I know they're not all transfers, but 49 first-year players. That's how he could pay Jordan Seaton $2.3 million for an offensive tackle. Because they gave him an extra $13 million. Yeah, sorry. That whole modern college football is that story. Moving on, rest of the world of sports. I think it was The Athletic, and they've decided to, because I saw a million of these, but re-rank the transfer portal quarterbacks. I don't know why we'd re-rank them. Now, maybe after spring football is over and we have spring football data and spring football game review. Oh, spring football data. More info, but they did. And Darian Mensah, the Duke quarterback that went to Miami, is now the number one according to The Athletic. They did say something fascinating. They mentioned 24. They got Cam Ward, college football playoff contention, but they blew so many games late. And it was Cristobal. In 25, Carson Beck got him just short of a national championship. Well, if you look at what Mensah's taking over, right? And they got Fletcher and Tony back. And Mensah's supposed to be of the three quarterbacks. Now, Cam Ward turned into the number one overall pick. Am I crazy, huh? So, the Mensah's actually supposed to be the most complete, quote, the most physically gifted of the three. So he's starting off further, better, more advanced with Mark Fletcher and Malachi Tony. So they could be better. Miami's a serious threat this year, allegedly. So Mensah gets one. Number two is the quarterback, I'm going to say for the 500th time, I would have took of all of them. That's Sam Leavitt, Arizona State. What is it about Leavitt? In big games, he plays his best. In crunch time, he plays the best. And his running ability destroys defenses. And that's what you're looking in the modern quarterback. He was beat up all of last year. And I always said in my head, what would Sam Leavitt look like if he had one of those like A&M O-lines? One of those top O-lines? I think he'd be the scariest quarterback in college football. Now, I don't know if LSU's O-line is actually going to fit the bill of what I just said. So I still don't know what it means. But Leavitt is, when a play breaks down, that's when he's kind of his best even. So that's what I want in my modern quarterback. So they've got Mensah 1, Leavitt 2. They put Drew Mestemacher, the North Texas quarterback that went to Oklahoma State, 3. And then there's Brandon Sorsby, Cincy at 4. And Sorsby was number 1 when the QB portal opened. And Josh Hoover, TCU to Indiana at 5. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you caught this, but the TCU head coach kind of getting hounded repeatedly about Hoover. Very rarely do you see coaches, what's the phrase, poop all over their former players. But he said something like, in the 2 years here, he had 42 turnovers. And I went, oh, wow. Took a shotgun blast to his former quarterback. Nice. He did throw a lot of picks. I need a timeout. You know, when we come back, I do want to pick up. There's a couple of transfer quarterbacks that didn't make that top tiers, but there's names that stood out that will affect A&M's schedule and just of interest, maybe not on that top tier. And we need to continue in the rest of the world of sports, and the ticket booth's going to open. And we have an Aggie Baseball listening, all still to come here during the lunch hour. It's the Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio on a Thursday. Support for you. I mean, if you're lucky enough to look up Mark Sim, he's with Charles Schwab. He is the Charles Schwab branch right here in College Station. Support with Schwab is a modern approach to wealth management. What? They have the financial planning to meet your specific needs, why you called them, but also Mark Sim, Charles Schwab, have the flexibility to adapt as those needs change with time, and they do in ways that you haven't even thought of. Imagine, why would you? Yet. Learn more at schwab.com/College Station.
The Louis Bellina Show. Dial 979-693-1150. Hello. To visit with him. Hello. Or to win. Hello. On the D4 Land Services Hotline. Dial 979-693-1150.
First up, I think this is from Anonymous. It says, Louis, what's your prediction for the Vandy series? I believe that rain is going to be a pain in the right butt cheek the entire weekend. Now, today, I know right now it just looks brutal out there. Matter of fact, J84, going to be wet, need to play a triple header tomorrow. My understanding as of like 10:15 a.m., that was the last time I got a weather update for today, is that all the rain we're seeing out there is going to disappear. I don't know if it's 1 or like 2, but we're supposed to be fine for tonight. We are supposed to be fine for tonight. It's supposed to be raining right now, like you see, and as it has been. All this is expected and predicted, and we're supposed to be fine for tonight. Friday, we good. Saturday, not so much. And that's why, and when we first joined up at 11 o'clock today, that's why I said I expect a doubleheader tomorrow. So we're supposed to be fine for tonight, even though it looks nasty right now. Ugly Saturday, doubleheader Friday would be kind of the projecting. So that's my prediction for the Vandy series. It will be weather affected. If you're asking me like, is A&M going to take 3, 2, 1? A&M's off. If this just turns into home run derby track meet, A&M's going to take 2 out of 3. A&M should be able to hit the Vandy pitching and outscore them. If A&M's pitching steps up, A&M might sweep them. Vandy just had a sweep of their rival Tennessee. Vandy's coming in with Big Mo. Vandy is red hot. One of these two teams, A&M just got revenge on Missouri on the road, swept an SEC series, and Vanderbilt just won 3 walk-off games against their rival. One of these two teams will leave this weekend with momentum, winning back-to-back series. And this is two teams that did not have momentum to start the SEC season. Both teams were disappointed with the start. But after last weekend, plus whoever wins this, they will have, at the end of the first month, gotten Mo. I think A&M just outmashes Vandy and wins the series. Straight up. They will just, and A&M has the potential to outpitch them because, again, Vandy is relying on all the freshman arms due to injury. So I think A&M just mashes their way and wins 2 out of 3. Very straightforward. So my prediction, A&M takes 2 out of 3 and probably just outbashes them to get it. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. I want to continue, and it's not really that portal rankings. I talked about that part, but a couple of names that stand out. Number 6, if you weren't with me, The Athletic did their top 20, and I don't care about all 20. The top 5 caught my attention. The new number 1 is Mensah at Miami. They have Levitt at LSU too, and that was my favorite kid in the portal. But this one name keeps popping up, and it's Byram Brown. He's the USF quarterback that came with Golish to Auburn, and he keeps popping up, and all the scouting reports on him, and, never hit my radar. Yes, I've been doing a lot of looking at him since just because of all the attention he's got. And there he is at 6. And if he ends up being the real deal that he's being sold as, Auburn could be one of those, man, they're so horrifically disappointing yet again to, oh my gosh, they won 8 games. So we'll see if he's the impact. And it just reminded me of something looking at the list that DJ Lagway is no longer at Florida. And you remember Lagway was supposed to lead them to the promised land, take Billy Napier to the elite club, and return Florida to national championship prominence, right? And Lagway was injured, and Napier wanted to run a high school offense. It never worked out. And Lagway's down the road at Baylor now, and he's trying to help. Oh, my brain is cramping. I feel bad sometimes. But trying to help him save his job. So, Dave Aranda, save his job. It'll be interesting to see if it pans out. And A&M plays Missouri because the SEC believes that A&M and Missouri was the greatest rivalry in the history of the Big 12. Because any time there's a new SEC schedule, whether it's a reset or they have to have a one-year anomaly, A&M's playing Missouri. That's just, they're attached at the SEC hip. You'd have to ask the SEC office. I have no idea how this came to be true, but it is. And Austin Simmons, he transferred from Ole Miss to Missouri. If you want to know what's the like, this is the breakdown scouting report. What's the like? processes quickly, drives the ball at plenty of velocity, places it well, particularly across the middle. Lingering questions, lack of experience. That's the biggest question mark. 3-year career now. He's only taken 262 snaps. Going to be the starter, 25. Early season ankle injury, and then Chambliss emerged, obviously, so there wasn't a spot for him there. And he's the Mizzou starter, and A&M plays Mizzou because, again, greatest rivalry. I mean, all the A&M Mizzou games in the Big 12. I think at one point, Mizzou threatened to overtake the A&M Texas rivalry. And then there was one other name, Kenny Minchey going to Kentucky. A&M will play Kentucky. Matter of fact, it's the SEC opener. I'm not trying to pass Kentucky as a threat to A&M, but any SEC game should be taken seriously. And Kentucky has hopes of not being awful and embarrassing. And, new head coach, Will Stein, they think they might be able to score. They believe that they might no longer be one of the most inept offensive teams you've ever seen. And they believe that Will Stein, offensive coach, paired with an actual quarterback, and that's Kenny Minchey at Notre Dame. Well, transfer quarterback from Notre Dame. 3 years there, didn't play a lot. Pushed C.J. Carr. C.J. Carr won the job. C.J. Carr is a Heisman favorite entering this upcoming season. So anyway, that's just something to kind of think about. And of course, Will Stein, absolute resume as a quarterback guru. So, and again, that's why it caught my attention. Like, A&M's going to face him. Some of the names. The rest of the world of sports. Bill Self is returning to Kansas, the Jayhawks basketball coach. Sometimes coaches don't know when to say when. Is he completely out of juice? I don't know. But it's almost one of those things where if you have to ask the question, it's already been answered. The fact that he had to ask it and he had to evaluate and he had to look at it and he had to, take this long even. Because isn't this from a week ago? So it took him at least that long to figure out if he still had anything left in the tank. If it took that long for him to go, yes, I can do one more year. That's my 2-cent thought. And if you want to return the change on that, that's fine. But if it took him that long, yeah, probably. But it's hard to give up something they pay you a lot of money to do. Oh, and I wanted to share one more story with you. College basketball hoops still from the rest of the world of sports. You've heard of these incredible promotions, right? Matter of fact, think Mattress Mac and you understand where I'm headed with this. Remember, if the Astros win the championship, you keep your furniture. There is a furniture store called Jordan's Furniture. And they launched a promotion that if both the UConn men and women reach the national championship game, which, if you understand the quality of both basketball programs, that's not as outrageous maybe as it sounded on first, it hit your ear and you went, oh, that's ridiculous. No. UConn women's almost a lock for the national championship game. The men, maybe that's more of a stretch, and it took a miracle mistake and a miracle shot to even give them a chance. So, Jordan's Furniture. All furniture purchases between January 20th and March 1st are going to be refunded if both the men and women's basketball teams, UConn, make the national championship game. They're both in the Final Four. So 2 games away from them having to refund. How much money is that? About $50 million are at stake. Now, before you start going, holy cow, they're going to go out of business. Holy cow, chapter, I don't know what chapter that is, but when people or businesses go bankrupt, there's always a chapter people talk about. I'm not familiar with it. They got insurance. They have an insurance policy that will handle most of the $50 million they're kind of at stake for. Heck of a promotion. Now, Mattress Mac, Gallery Furniture, they did an Astros win the World Series kind of promotion. And he was at stake for, and the exact amount was pretty insane, but he covered his costs. Mattress Mac was, I don't need no stinking furniture. He won $75 million. He was placing $10 million bets on the Stros to win. So he covered all his furniture liability by winning $75 million on the Astros to win the World Series. And they did. And he won $75 million, paid for all the furniture he had to give away to the store. That was a different kind of insurance. Yeah? Yeah. I love those promotions. I know risk, liability. I'm not the one paying for anything. It's okay for me to love it, but pretty darn cool. So UConn, if both the men and women they don't have to win, make the national championship game, Jordan's furniture will give away or has given away, will be out $50 million. When we return up next, it's an Aggie Baseball listen in. Michael Earley, Clayton Freshcorn. That's what's next on the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, and industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric.
You can hear the NCAA Tournament, March Madness, on the Zone 1150 AM.
Legendary.
And 93.7 FM.
I think you know this, right? The Louis Bellina Show on the Zone. Louis Bellina Zone. No, just the Louis Bellina Show on the Zone. And at 1 o'clock, Rusty Burson will join us on the D4 Land Services hotline. If you need your land fixed up, cleared, excavated, maybe you need some forestry, mulching, pond construction. Whoa. What about a metal building, custom metal building from the ground up? All can be done by D4 Land Services. And if you want more info, like, hey, what's the phone number? How much? You just have questions, right? D4landservices.com. D4landservices.com. Time now. Aggie Baseball listening, and we always start with the head coach, Michael Earley. Met with the media, going to preview. He's got Vanderbilt all tonight, and of course, more. Here's Coach Earley.
What's the outlook, the expectation? What are you hoping to see from your guys this weekend?
Continue to play good baseball and win games. I mean, simple as that. But I want to, definitely want to pitch better than we have, and I think we will. So continue up what we've done offensively, not necessarily. I think we've had some pretty large run production games over the course of the last few, but it's just about continuing to have good at-bats and good discipline in the batter's box.
First time to have a series start on Thursday, so how have you guys adjusted in practice schedule? What does a short week look like for you?
It's Thursday's normal practice is today, and Wednesdays doesn't exist. Wednesday is usually a lighter day, more of cage-driven, live at-bats. That's just something we won't do this day. So what we do on Thursday and all the other weeks we'll do on Wednesday, today.
And then Vanderbilt kind of got off to a slow start, beginning of the season, now starting to pick up momentum. What challenges do you anticipate this weekend? How are you preparing the team?
They're a really, really good team, program, extremely well coached. They just swept last weekend against their in-state rival, so slow or not, in this league, every team can beat you at any time, and I think it's going to be our toughest matchup of the year so far.
I know early in the season, or before the season, you said Jordan is a guy who has a lot of raw talent and just kind of needs to, maybe doesn't know what he doesn't know. What's changed? How has he evolved to get the time he's gotten lately?
I think he's just continued to get better and continued to practice really hard and practice the right way and do things the right way. And we've had to get him in there because whenever you feel like you got someone that has that much potential, you got to get him in there, and the only way he's going to get truly better, though, is playing in games. So I think we've put him in the right games, and he's earned his spot to get out there to do more. So I think it's a credit to him and his work ethic and his attitude since he's been here day one. He's been incredible to work with, and the success he's having is, I'm not surprised by it just because of the work, the talent level and the work that he's put in to get to this point.
You mentioned you want to see your pitchers continue to improve. Just what have the conversations been like between you, JK, and just the staff as a whole, the players, pitching staff, in hopes of just trying to take steps forward?
I think the biggest thing, we got to continue to throw strikes, but we got to be able to put people away when it's time to put them away. Limit the big inning. If you look at Shane, it's the big inning. Weston a little less consistent than Shane, but all of them meaning those two, have shown Shane more so signs of like what we need. It's like you got to put it together, right? You it's, Georgia for Shane, it was 2 pitches. Well, in this league, you can't afford 2 pitches. Missouri was an inning. So it's like, you got to finish every pitch, every batter. You got to continue to play the whole game. So Shane is right there, and I think Weston, maybe it didn't look great on Saturday. We felt from a stuff standpoint, he was in a better spot. I just feel like with those two, we need them, and we need them to be good. And I know they're good, and I think if we can continue to throw strikes but also put guys away when we needed to put them away, like Shane did against Georgia, outside of those 2 swings, I think they're as good as it gets.
When it comes to your bullpen, just kind of toward the midway part of the season, just how do you feel like it's really started to come together, and just what you like and what you want to continue to see from that group as a whole?
Yeah, they've done a good job. They've done a really good job, and I want them to continue. We brought in Juan the other day against Missouri, and he got a punch out. That's what we're bringing him in to do that, right? With his stuff and how he throws, he's got to be able to do that. And Darden was better on Sunday. And Fresh has been really good this year, and just evolving some other guys like Grant Cunningham. He's done a great job. That's why we keep throwing him back out there, because we need him. And Cooper Powell showed a little flash last night. It was good. He's had 2 good outings this year, and Hunter threw a good inning. So we're going to need those guys too to sprinkle them in the right way. But yeah, our bullpen has been pretty solid. If you look at the run production from when they come into the game to the end.
Have you seen just the bullpen necessarily evolve too, especially after losing McCoy prior to the season, and then obviously losing Josh a few weeks in?
Yeah, it's just changed. Grant has been a huge help to that, right? Those guys are really good. They're tough to replace, but you gotta another guy has to step up, and someone who was going to be in that mix has to do just a little more, and we need them to continue to fill up the strike zone and put guys away. We need to put them away. You gotta miss some bats. Balls in play can get you, whether they're hit hard or not hit hard.
Is there any player that you might see that might get a little overlooked, but could make an impact in this series?
Yeah, I think Bear gets pretty underlooked for what he does behind the plate and his ability to get on base. And he's done a really good job halfway through the year, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of our guys garner a lot of attention, and deservingly so. But if I could think of one, it would be him. And then, I think Blake Bindrup's done a really good job too.
One more with the bullpen. There's a report that MJ's left the team. I'm just curious if you could confirm whether or not that's true or not.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
That wraps up the Listen In. Michael Earley, A&M baseball head coach. And, I'd been saying Clayton Freshcorn was the other part of the Aggie Baseball Listen In. No, I'm calling an audible. Boston Kellner was a part of the whole media day yesterday, and Boston Kellner was, he was selected by Perfect Game as a freshman All-American second team. And, he got the award, he got the accolade. Let's hear what he had to say yesterday as part of media day.
Boston, just what have you seen from this offense throughout this winning streak that you guys have been able to carry a consistent approach and have the results you've gotten?
Yeah, really, really resilient lineup. Like any guy can get it done. Any guy can step up and do his job, and just a lot of guys are getting their pitches, getting their swing off, and feeling really good right now.
What have you learned about yourself and maybe the game as a whole through your first 3 weeks in this league?
Man, a lot. It's been super awesome playing at this level and just having a ton of fun right now with these guys, having a lot of success, and hope to keep going.
What have you seen what have you seen at the plate lately, and how are you going to approach this series? With good Vanderbilt team coming in.
Yeah, we obviously know they're a really good team, and they're coming off of a hot weekend. Pitchers are really good, as well as all the other SEC pitchers are. But just gotta keep doing our thing, keep getting our swing off, keep seeing good pitches, and getting pitches up, getting pitches middle, and getting our swing off.
Was Jorian a guy that when you saw him come in or knew of him, you knew that there was probably just a matter of time before he cracked the lineup?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, Jorian's one of my best friends and also my roommate. Super good guy and works extremely hard. So for him to have success and seeing him doing his thing out there, it's really cool. And, he's kind of that diamond in the rough guy. He's really, really good, and he's going to continue to get a lot better.
What have you maybe seen in the last few weeks that has his game is elevated to get that shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think his confidence level has always been really high, but I think it's even higher now. Like there were just a couple things that didn't really go his way, but now that everything's starting to click, like it's clicking well, and he's just gonna keep grinding and keep doing his thing, and if he keeps doing that, then he's just gonna continue to perform.
You close with any of the pitchers, and just have you maybe seen some of the hitters and fielders try and encourage them as they try to elevate their play more? Yeah, no, pitchers are doing great. Love those guys. I hang around a lot of the pitchers too, so yeah, really, really close with those guys. And then I know they're gonna do their thing. I'm always I can always rely on them to do their thing, and I know that they're going to go out there, perform, and any guy on the pitching staff will do their thing and perform well.
You played a really solid shortstop as a freshman, so what is the work like on a daily basis, and what has it been like working with Cliff Pennington as well?
Oh, awesome. Cliff's a man. Coach Pennington has been great. Learned a ton from him, and just continue to keep doing my routine every single day, and continue to just work really hard and take a lot of ground balls, make sure I go through mental reps, make sure I continue to talk to Coach Pennington about things that happen in game, whether it's a successful play or a play that I didn't make, and just continue to get better every day and get a lot of help from him. He's the man.
What do you think you've grown the most from the first 28 games of your college career?
To be honest, I think just on the mental side, just confidence, to be honest. Like, just being very, very comfortable in my shoes. And at first, the nerves were there, for sure. And now that we're deeper into the season, the nerves have calmed down a little bit. And I know I can go out there and, just lay it all on the line. And whatever happens, happens. So being comfortable with that, I think that gives me quite a bit of freedom and helps me have fun playing the game.
And what player have you learned from, throughout the season, whether it's a veteran or maybe even a freshman? Who have you learned the most from as the season's going?
Yeah, man, we have a lot of good leaders on the team. A lot of names come to mind, but Chris Akopian, Gavin Grahovac, Caden Sorrell, Wesley Jordan, Jake Dewar, all these older guys are really, really helping out, and they're very good mentors and a lot of good guys to talk to on the team about just going through struggles, going through the highs, going through the lows, and I've learned a lot from all those guys.
Anything else?
That was Boston Kellner, and before that it was Michael Earley. It's our Aggie Baseball listening, part of the Louis Bellina Show Thursday edition. The Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio. Yesterday, and I mentioned this an hour ago, yesterday we got all these mid-season award announcements. Like Sorrell was selected to mid-season College Player of the Year watch list. Nico Pertita was named to the mid-season College Freshman of the Year watch list. That was both Baseball America. Perfect Game, Sorrell, mid-season second-team All-America. Pertita, freshman All-American first team. And we just listened into Boston Kellner, who was freshman All-American second team. Well, this just in, sometime during the lunch hour, this was released. But A&M outfielder Caden Sorrell was selected to the Golden Spikes Award mid-season watch list. This was according to USA Baseball. Caden Sorrell, Golden Spikes Award mid-season watch list, as announced by USA Baseball. This is the Louis Bellina Show on The Zone.
Sign up for the Zone newsletter at zone1150.com and don't miss out on a chance to win $5,000 in the Money Machine.